Welcome to day 4 of the February 2021 daily watercolor tutorials and deals. Please subscribe and share, and your questions are welcome. Welcome back. Today we're going to do a nice watercolor demonstration. We're going to be using the masking fluid here today in a couple different ways I think you'll find interesting. And our subject matter is a hammock in the sunlight by some birch trees, and really lovely scene. Okay, so to start, we're going to use a medium brush, get some soap suds on there. Into the rubber masking fluid it goes. And let's start off some big areas that we know we're going to mask off, like that tree on the left. Okay, so now we're going to get a little venturesome. I'm not going to brush my teeth. I'm going to soak this toothbrush in my soapy water. I'm going to grab a little bit of scrap paper to cover what I've done. I'm doing this little spray technique now. So I've picked up masking fluid on the brush, and where that light is dappling through from the top, etc., but in here as well, I want some glints of light there. So I've simply sprayed that on top. Now I'm going to remove that. I can see up here in the top corner. I'm going to move around this way and just spray a bit down in this way. Something like that. I think that's good. So let's clean out that toothbrush. I will be using that for painting. Now we're almost done our frisket, but we're going to take that nice fine brush that I had before. This is how much the soapy water works. It's just excellent. These little trees over here in the shadows, quite delicate. Okay, for the hammock itself, we're going to grab this bottom area in here. It's kind of a droopy triangle. For the rest of this hammock, I'm switching to my fine little brush that I use for the trees. And now those cords coming up, nice and quick. Trying to leave a few spaces between, and going in the direction of the gather. Lines here. Just a little dot here, I think would suffice. And then radiation of lines. And there we go. We'll let that masking, rinse out our brushes, let that dry, and we'll come back with the next step. Okay, so that frisket is now dry. I'm soaking my flooding brush with clean water. I've pre-mixed some greens here. We're actually using what they call turquoise with cad yellow for our light greens. And I've pre-mixed another darker green for some of the shadows, which I'll probably introduce the dioxazine violet as well. I'm taking my flooding brush and soaking it. We're going for the top part of the shadows of the picture. We're going to start off with a flood of green. So I'm grabbing a little bit in my brush as a marker, and we're going to start putting in the flood. I can now see where I'm going with this. It's just a little tint to show me what parts of that paper I've covered and what I've not. The frisket is doing its job, masking out some of these areas. And there's grass in here. Just trying to break that line. Okay, so let's go to the darker color. Squeeze up my brush. Coming in predominantly where the shadows come down with these trees. So let's get right in here, down in here. Shadow comes just to the other side of this tree. So we're kind of going for some contrast in here and alluding towards the shadows that are amongst those trees and scrub. I think that's good for that area. Let's go to the other side now, to the left. It's very intense in here. We used our toothbrush for the frisket. Let's try using it for some of the darks. Very sparingly. I'm going to get my piece of paper as a bit of a mask and see where it really kind of goes. It kind of goes up here. I like that. Okay, and then by the tree edge here, that would be nice. Let's not get it down here though. Nice. All right, let's quit messing with that and we'll take her from here. Let's let that dry and we'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Those two colors have dried. I'm now going to take my flooding brush and come down to where this beautiful grass is. Doing a little bit of a trace here with yellow. Trying to get that uniformly damp. Okay, that's good for the flooding brush. We're going to squeeze that out. We're grabbing our medium pointed brush. I'm going to start off the cad yellow because it's dramatic. Just kind of dabbing it on. Not wanting to leave any hard edges. I'm working my way over to the grass now. Giving it some nice light greens. Here's a great opportunity to mix, two colors that are close together. The green, the light green, and the yellow. It's kind of a random sort of pattern. We can deepen that a little. So let's continue with that yellow. Yellowish light green. And bring that a little bit in here. Alright, we're back with the dry page. Still got my frisket material on there. I'm going to take two complementary colors here. I'm going to take the dioxanine violet and I'm going to take the cad yellow mixed with a bit of Windsor's white gouache, which is a water-based paint. I don't know why the violet goes so beautifully with green, but it does. It's wonderful. You'll see here as I get a few strokes ready to go. So the deepest of the shadows, I'm going to try and introduce this violet. Nice. I just kind of like that around our center of interest, which is our hammock, of course. Okay, we're at the part of the watercolor now where we're going to remove the liquid frisket. And the way to do that is just simply to rub with your fingertips. This creates a lot of waste. There's a lot of rubber and grit you'll see pop up. But you'll also see the beautiful white of the paper again, which has been prevented from being affected by all those washes we put in. Now you can see why I'm using that toothbrush. It gives you some really nice effects, along with the using the toothbrush with the paint as well. So you need to get your brush out for this. Continuing to rub out some of that more spatter that we applied near the very beginning. You may wonder, how can I tell where is the mask anymore, that liquid frisket. And you can actually feel it. You can feel the difference between the paper and the rubber. Some amazingly sharp, small little bits that are preserved. And as artists, we can use that to our advantage. So there's the reveal of our paper from using the frisket or the liquid mask. We're going to move on now to the next step and bring this to life. Okay, we're going to work now around our center of interest. We can see the lights coming in this way. I want to try something now with that purple and the green. So we're starting off with a faint quinacridone violet coming up to the top of the trees where my shadow lines were. And while that's damp, I want that to transition really to a phthalo blue, pale phthalo blue. So let's give that a go. Using the phthalo blue now. Letting those bleed together beautifully like watercolor does. Okay, I've touched up a little bit here and there, added a little bit of texture to the birch trees. And now what I find is I'm really liking this part here. I'm really liking that. I like that very much, this part here. I think the other part looks lacking. So what's making the difference to me is the spattering effect. Don't want it near the hammock at all. Just maybe a little bit up here, a little bit on this bush, and then, you know, that's fine for it to fade out to the edge. A little bit more down here. I like that too. Now I need into here. That's working. I started adding some light greens on top of my spatter. This is the effect I'm going for. I want some of the light spatter to show. I want the other parts to be this medium green. So let's start over on this side a little bit. Okay, I've added a few little touches. Now I'm working on, I did the little birdhouse with a little hanger. We're trying now for the hammock. This one almost goes into shadow here. And that hammock is starting to happen now. Now I just want to come back with a couple glints, just a couple glints of white light in there. Pure white if I can get it. So I'm going back to the Winsor Opaque white gouache. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hammock and Sunlight, the original and prints, are now for sale. Check the link below, and see you tomorrow.